Well, hello YouTube. I'm back with another pistol review, this time of my Dan Wesson Guardian 1911. It's a commander size 1911 and it's chambered in 9mm. The Guardian is a relatively new release from Dan Wesson. Dan Wesson, incidentally, as you may or may not know, was bought out by CZ USA a few years back. And Dan Wesson has made some nice mid-priced level 1911s. The C-Bob, V-Bob, which were both bob-tailed 1911 frames. And they've also recently released a CCO bobtail, which is a commander-length slide on an officer-size frame. But this is the Guardian, and it is the full-size, if you will, commander, 4¼ inch barrel and a full-sized frame. And we'll start talking about some of the features here. First off, right out of the gate, I had some Wesson Combat G10 Starburst bobtail grips that I put on the pistol and took off actually these very nice looking, I'm trying to get it to show up, maybe it showed up better there you go, it might be a better shot of them. They're Hogue Shadow grips with the Dan Wesson logo in them. What I might do is pause the camera, take the Wesson Combat grips off, return the Dan Wesson grips to the pistol, and let you guys in your votes or your comments indicate which grips you like better on the pistol. And then we'll pick up the review again in a minute here. Let me pause the video. Okay, here's where you can decide. The aftershot with the Hogue grips on it, or the aftermarket Wesson Combat Starburst. The Hogue grips are thinner. I should have held them up, giving it an even thinner grip purchase than the Wesson Combat. But let's put the camera down and get you lined up so that I can talk a little bit more about the features and do a quick size comparison to a Glock 17. My Glock 19 is up in my nightstand. That's the one I usually do a pistol comparison to. But I just want to give you something relative, size relative, that you can do a comparison. Let's put the camera down and start her up again in a minute. Alright, I've got the camera down in the tripod, or as you all know, it's my smartphone. When I do a 1911 review, I like to, we'll show you this is unloaded still. I like to give you an idea of a comparison of the width, because in my mind a 1911, weight aside, is significantly thinner and therefore more concealable than a polymer frame pistol. But we'll leave that up to viewer debate in the comment sections, the pros and cons. But real quick, Glock 17, the frame width on these measure at 1.157, and the widest point, which would be the slide release, is 1.0. Not get too nerdy here. It's coming in at 1.184. And then if you were to look at the Dan Wesson Guardian, you know, you can see how much thinner the slide is, right up to the slide stop or slide release, which is still thinner, considerably thinner. I don't know if that's showing up in frame, but let's do the quick measurement for you. I get 0.93 on the slide width, 0.927, and up here, the widest part, which would be in the holster, would be the slide release or slide stop, and that's just over 1 at 1.1 in terms of the, let me turn that off, not waste my battery, in terms of the width. But the neat thing about the Guardian, the Dan Wesson Guardian, is it's an aluminum frame pistol, which significantly reduces the weight. So as long as I'm doing the comparison to the Glock 17, before I put this away, the gun is unloaded. The Glock 17 with a 17-round mag, fully loaded, tips the scales at roughly 33, 32.5 ounces, and I use 124 grain bullets. That's what I'm going by with my weight weighing. The Dan Wesson Guardian with only 9 rounds, 124 grain bullet, tips the scale also at about 33 ounces. So very comparable in terms of the weight between the two pistols. Of course, capacity being what it is, the Glock 17 easily beats that. So let's put the Glock 17 down on the side and continue with the Guardian review. I do have a cheat sheet available to me because I just want to cover all the features for this. It's a relatively new pistol put out by Dan Wesson or CZ USA, and I want to cover all the details. It does have the neat feature that I like about it in the commander size pistol. Again, 4¼ inch barrel, full size 1911 frame, is that it is a bobbed frame. And to me, this allows me to get a much better purchase in my hand, more comfortable to me, and also when I'm concealing it in its holster, that frame point is not printing on the t-shirt or the shirt tail that I've got hanging down on top of the pistol. So I prefer a bobtail, especially in a concealed carry 1911 size, commander size pistol. This is, as I mentioned, chambered in 9mm. Dan Wesson Guardian is available in both 38 Super and 45 ACP. I have enough 1911s and 45 ACP that I wanted something in 9mm. Let's see here, it does have good front strap checkering. My negative would be the back strap is smooth. The bobbed, around the bob mainspring housing is smooth. It's not checkered. I would like some checkering back there, personal preference. They does have a memory, what did they call it? A memory groove palm swell, if you will, on the beaver tail safety. I like that. Modification I did to this pistol is, again, it is unloaded, is I put a low mount thumb safety. I like to ride my thumb safety with my thumb so I can easily activate, deactivate the safety, then hold the pistol in this fashion. When I'm done firing, I engage the safety. When I'm ready to fire, come up on target, would drop down on that safety, and I like having that grip of the pistol. So I did replace the thumb safety. The original one was not ambidextrous. This pistol does not have an ambi safety. I had no problem with that. If I was shooting with my weak side hand, I could just come over like that, engage or disengage the safety if I had to. So I don't think that's a big drawback. Let's see here. Oh, the top of the slide itself is not serrated, but it is rounded in a dull finish, so there is little glare. While I'm pointing out the top, the has Novak low mount style night sights, and what I like about this is, of course it's not going to show up here, the front sight is a green sight in the dark, and the rear is, you know, they say it's white, but it's like a really washed out yellow, yellowish rear sight. So there's a definite contrast between the sight, the front and the two-dot rear sights at night makes it really great to pick up and get your sight picture. The front of the slide, again, does not have serrations. So you know, take it for what it's worth. On a full-size 1911, I like it to have the slide serrations on the front. On a commander size, you know, if you're doing a press check, you don't need it, but some people like to have that. What else can I tell you about it? Let's look over at the cheat sheet. I already gave you the weight at about 33 ounces loaded. Unloaded, it's just under 29 ounces. The overall length is 8 inches. The barrel, as I said, is 4 1/4 inches. The height is 5 1/2 inches. I did mention, I hope, that it has a forged aluminum frame, so it's lightweight. And we've already talked about the front strap stippling, the lack of it on the back. Oh, you can see, and you've seen it all throughout the video as I point the gun at myself, the trigger, let's put it this way, excuse me, I'm not left-handed, so it's not natural to hold the firearm in my left hand. The trigger is itself is a lightened aluminum shoe unit, but it's not been drilled. You know, you see those triggers with the 3 holes drilled there. They say the solid shoe it has an advantage over the ones with the 3 holes drilled there, because the 3 holes allow a spot for lint or dirt to collect, and it could affect the trigger movement. I don't know. I haven't come down on one side of the fence on that or not. The ejection port, of course, it's flared and lowered. And what else can let me look back at my cheat sheet here. Not much more to say. I want to switch gears and real quick talk about the magazines, if I'm not making this too long and too boring of a video. It comes with 2, and they have a little Dan Wesson logoed magazine, 9-round, 9mm magazine, and they are made by Checkmate. Don't know if that's showing up. I think I'll pick up the camera here. Excuse ahead of time the wobble. So that, all right, got the tripod down here. Talk about these mags real quick, so this isn't too long of a video. I don't know if it's going to show up well. I'll lean back and look, but this is the Checkmate 9-round, 9mm magazine that came with the pistol. I got 2 of them. They have a little Dan Wesson logo here. They've worked flawlessly with the firearm. They have this style. Let's see if I can get it to show up. Has the spacer in the back of the magazine, because as you can imagine, the 9mm round is shorter than a 45 ACP. The 1911 frame size is basically the same, or is the same, and the outer dimensions of the magazine are the same, so they have to make an adaptation here for the magazine to accommodate the shorter round 9mm. And what they've done typically is use the style that uses a spacer in the back of the magazine. Feeds the round flawlessly. Went out and bought another Checkmate or 2, and they all work well in the firearm. I did have to go out and experiment. I did buy a Kimber. Again, try to get this one on frame. A Kimber 9mm magazine also uses the spacer. This runs as well as the Checkmates. I also got a Springfield 9mm magazine, and actually I think they're made by Metal Form. I think that's what the MM stands for, and that symbol. And as you can see, or hopefully can see, excuse me, is there's no spacer in the back of this style of 9mm 1911 magazine. What they have done is extend it. It has a front fold down here that mates up well with the front of the magazine, outer magazine, to prevent the follower from tilting too far forward or tilting. And then of course the lip itself comes out further. I may not be describing this correctly or as well. This actually feeds okay. I have had a couple bobbles on the next to last round or last round in the magazine, but not all the time. It could be an ammo issue or not. But what I've come to rely on and use are the style with the spacers. They work the best in this gun. My recommendation to you would be run with the two you got, see how that works after the break-in, and if you want to experiment, get yourself the Metal Form or Springfield Armory magazines that have the different style follower without the spacer, and just buy one of those and see how that works, and you can decide yourselves. One thing I forgot to mention, I'll try to show it here in close-up if it shows up well, is that the pistol has the barrel has a integral ramp, so your rounds are not slamming into the frame and going up into the barrel. It's an aluminum frame. You don't want that. You want a barrel with a ramp, integral ramp. Don't know what else to say. I love the pistol. Really comfortable to wear. I will take this out to the hunting property and shoot it on camera, post that video separate because I hate long-winded, long videos, and I'm sure this is well over 10 minutes already. Thanks for watching.